problems with grain cargoes are preventing the grain from being damaged and the grain's effect on the ship's stability. Let us start by looking at the problem of cargo damage. Grain cargoes are usually intended for human or animal consumption, so special attention should be given to keeping the cargo in good condition. Foodstuffs like grain are easily damaged by contamination and or infestation. The most likely source of contamination is from air. Fresh water from rain during loading, transport to the ship, or seawater ingress during the voyage will spoil the grain. It might cause sprouting, rotting, or fungal infections to take hold, making the grain inedible and worthless. Infestation, by insects, rats, and the like, is most likely to begin before the cargo is loaded. The cargo can be eaten or contaminated, again reducing its value. If there is a high moisture content in a grain cargo, then it is also possible that self-heating might occur, again damaging the cargo. Grain cargoes flow freely and are therefore able to shift. The angle of repose of grain is typically about 20 degrees. Remember that Appendix 3 of the IMSBC Code says that any non-cohesive bulk cargoes, those that have an angle of repose equal to or less than 30 degrees and which flow freely like grain, should be treated as grain. This means that they must be carried in accordance with the International Code for the Safe Carriage of Grain in Bulk, better known as the International Grain Code. The International Grain Code contains regulations and guidance for ships engaged in the carriage of grain in bulk. It applies to ships regardless of size, including those of less than 500 gross tonnage, while carrying grain or IMSBC Code Appendix 3 cargoes in bulk. In a partly filled hold, the grain flowing from side to side when the ship rolls creates a free surface grain cargo. This reduces the ship's intact stability and in the worst cases can lead to capsize. Conventional cargo ships, for which the International Grain Code was mainly written, needed to take special care with trimming. Temporary bulkheads can be used to reduce free surfaces. The modern bulk carrier has topside tanks which enable the hold to be nearly 1% filled. The free surface, which is only the size of the hatch opening, is much less than a conventional ship's rectangular area. The hatch coamings project down into the cargo, enabling the grain in the hatch square to act as a feeder, filling any spaces in the hold as the grain settles during the voyage. Grain can settle up to 5% of its volume during a typical voyage. The requirements of the International Grain Code and the national authorities in the loading port at the time of sailing must be met. The master should also plan the loading and discharge such that at any time, partly laden, the ship can, in an emergency, put to sea with adequate stability. If this is not practical, then the times when the ship cannot sail should be noted in the Ship Shore Safety Checklist in the BLU Code.